Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel Devotion of Knowledge. Today we are back again with another and very interesting video on the topic iterators. Our previous video was about custom sorting function or custom comparator function that we can insert in our inbuilt sorting algorithm, which can be used to sort the data of a vector or pair as per the user's requirement. Means second element is greater than the first element and all that things we did in the last video. But in this video we are going to exclusively learn about iterators. Iterators is a very crucial part of C++ STL. Now many of you might have a question arise in your mind that why iterators are very important. As I also told in the introductory video or a first video of that what is STL, I told you that data structures like vectors or arrays, they are linear data structure, or string we can also say, because string is basically nothing but a array of characters only. So string, vector, etc. means array, all the data structures are considered as linear data structures. But as soon as players such as sets, hash maps, etc. comes into the picture, they are not considered as linear anymore, because all these use red black tree in the backend to implement all these data structures, sets, hash maps. So to access the elements or to fetch the data from those data structures, iterators are must, because from next upcoming video we are going to understand about very interesting containers such as sets, hash maps and all that. And if we don't know how to access the data from such containers, then what's the meaning to learn such containers? So to learn about set and hash map, one should have very clear and crystal clear idea about that what are iterators and how they can be used and why they are required. So we are going to cover each and everything about iterators in very detail, along with the implementation of them as well. We are going to also implement use of iterators on the vectors, and from the next video we will be understanding about set and hash maps. So by default iterators will be extensively used there. So let us understand how iterators are used. But first of all, what is iterator or what are iterators? Iterators are basically similar to pointer. Everyone, you might have studied that pointers in C language, and if those who have not studied, let me give you an overview of pointers. See, all the data that we have is stored in a memory, means we can say file in blocks. So for example, whenever we write int a equal to 1, a particular memory is allocated to this variable a, and in that particular memory 1 is stored, and this addresses can be suppose 100, 101, 102 and dot dot dot, means it can be 1000, and means every block is having a particular address. So for example, this address of the particular block that stores the value of variable 1 is 100. So int a equal to 1, on writing it on block having address 100, one value is stored of this variable a. Now whenever we all of you might be knowing about passing by value and passing by reference. So whenever we write int b equal to and a, this particular b stores the address of this block, the block means address of the block where a is stored, so it will store 100. And now to get the value of this we have to write star, means if we write cout star b, it will print 1, because b initially was storing the address where the particular value is stored. And now applying star or writing a star as a suffix, it will, as a prefix, it will give the value which is stored on that particular address block. I hope it is clear. This much knowledge about pointers is sufficient. Otherwise, pointer in itself is a very vast topic. Those who have studied in their first semester in C language, it is quite a tough topic as well. But iterators are somewhat similar to pointers. Not exactly, but somewhat similar. Now, let us consider an example of a vector. This is a vector. And yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is a vector named V. Okay. Now, iterators are defined as or to initialize are initialized as data structure, 2 colons, a name. Oh, sorry, not name. We are supposed to write iterator and name. This is a particular syntax to define any iterator. We will be implementing this syntax as well. Now, the most crucial thing is coming now. Please pay attention. First element is always denoted as v dot begin. V dot begin means v is the name of this particular vector. V dot begin always points to the first element. Please remember this. And v dot end always points a memory block which is after the last element of a particular container that you are using, whether it is string, vector, hash set, hash map, etc. Whichever container you are using, v dot end points to the memory block which is after the last element of that particular container. So in this case, v dot end will point to this particular memory location which is after the last element of a particular container. I hope this thing is clear to you. V dot begin and v dot end are the most important part while handling the iterators, because whenever we are iterating, whenever we are applying a loop, we have to apply an endpoint for a particular iterator of any container. So v dot end will be our base case where we will be ending our iteration of any particular for loop. I hope it is clear to you guys. So now v dot begin and v dot end, I hope it is clear to you. Now it is 6, right? Okay. How to write a particular code regarding iterators and v dot begin, and yes, if I say that it is equal to v dot begin, means it is pointing to this one, right? Now if I want to get the value of this, I have to write star it. Okay, I have to write star it because it is a particularly iterator which is pointing to the first element, and to get the value inside the block I have to apply star as a prefix. Okay, I hope this much knowledge is sufficient for understanding about or to getting overview of iterators. But the main thing that we are going to understand is how to write in code. Conceptually, this thing was sufficient for you guys to understand that what are iterators and how they're implemented. But the main task that of ours is to write that we should be able to write any particular concept in code on our IDE. So let us head straight for writing the code of iterators. Here I am using atom IDE. First we'll include our header files. Okay, this much is our code of means all the predefined libraries and all that we require. Here let us initialize a vector int v and element 1 2 3 4 5. And those who don't know about vector, You guys can check out my previous video that I have dedicatedly prepared for understanding the vectors and pairs in detail. Okay, now as I told you, the syntax for assigning or initializing an iterator is, first of all, we have to write a data structure for which we are preparing or initializing an iterator. So here I am willing to create a iterator for this particular vector. So what will be the data type? Obviously it is a vector. Now we will be writing iterator and name of that iterator that we are or that you can also assign. Now what is IT? IT I want as v dot, I want that IT should point to the first element of my vector, and to print the value IT, is it correct? No, IT is pointing to that particular memory block. So to have the value of that particular memory block, we have to write star. Now let us run the code. As it is Ubuntu, so we have to Linux based OS, so we have to run code in terminal g++ iterators.cpp -o iterators. Okay, as you can see, one is there in the output, but it is not clearly visible, so let us run it again. Yes, as you can see, one is there. Now if I write v dot end, which is element or memory block pointing after 5, so what will be the output? 0, because it is storing or it is displaying some another value which is stored at that memory block, which is not in our control. It is some garbage value. Now how to iterate over this vector using iterators? Let us do it. We will write for loop it equal to v dot begin, and up to what we will be iterating until it is not equal to v dot end and it plus plus. Now many of you might be familiar to write here it plus equal to 1 means any iterator that we are using, I plus equal to 1, it plus equal to 1, but whenever we are using iterator, never use it plus equal to 1, always use it plus plus. I will be explaining this logic very soon, but please remember to write it plus plus and cout star it handle, and yeah, I think code should run. Yes, as you can see, 1 2 3 4 5 is getting displayed in the output. Now what's the main logic behind writing it plus plus? Let us understand that in detail. Whenever we write it, where's the pen? Whenever we write it plus equal to 1 means it is basically incrementing, excuse me, yes, whenever we are writing it plus equal to 1, it is it equal to it plus 1, right? It means that it is just incrementing a value of it by 1, means it shifts it from this, means this is a memory block and it here it is there. By doing it plus 1, it shifts it from this block to the next particular block, means linearly on this particular line of this memory blocks. If it is here, so it plus equal to 1 will shift it to the next corresponding block. Now in terms of vector, it won't give any kind of error, because vector, string, they all are a kind of linear data structure. But as soon as we use set data structure uses red black green backend. So if it is like this, corresponding my IT is here. So if I write IT plus equal to 1, IT plus equal to 1, it will shift my iterator to some particular value in the memory block, but it is not mandatory that the value of this node will be always stored on that memory block. No. But if we write IT plus plus, it means that it will increase the value of iterator such that it will point to the next corresponding element of a particular container that I am using. But as I said, in terms of means in the case of vector and string, it will also work correctly. But as soon as set and maps arrive or come into the picture, this won't work. We have to write like this only. Okay, so I hope it is clear to write IT plus equal to 1 and IT plus plus. Always write IT plus plus. It is also more easier to write. Now, don't you think it is a particularly a bit time consuming task of writing this too much data type and all that? There is one shortcut as well to declare or initialize iterator is using auto name, means whatever name you want to give. Here we want to give IT and just write whatever the value you want to give. So we dot begin iterator. See, it is only applicable for versions of C++ which are above 11. Means below C++ 11, this functionality of writing auto keyword was not there. So those who are having versions above 11 or above 11, they only will be able to enjoy this particular facility. Now it is not mandatory that IT equal to v dot begin only. Suppose I want to as a string as well, or ABC and all that I want to give as a string. Yeah, so cout IT, it will also work. Yeah, as you can see. But the only mandatory thing is that whenever we are initializing or using auto, one should immediately tell the value to the compiler that yeah, here I am writing auto IT, but how the computer will know that we are going to assign a string to this auto is by immediately writing it after here. So I think if I write or if I keep it as it is, it will give me error because we are not initializing anything. See, we are not giving any particular data type to auto. So it has no initializer, so it is giving me error. But unless and until I was having data structure such as string there, it was not giving me any kind of error. Yeah, it is working perfect. Output is also there. So while running a for loop, we are just writing auto IT equal to v dot begin IT not equal to end, not equal to v dot end IT plus plus, and just print the value. And all set. Yeah, running perfectly, as you can say 1 2 3 4 5. Now I also don't want to write iterators. So is there any another catch? Yes, it is there. It's auto only. Auto I v cout I. I will explain what is this. Less. As you can see 1 2 3 4 5 is also there. Now what this particular line does, it uses a variable named I. It will automatically assign data structure because we are giving here container through which we are supposed to iterate. So it will iterate through this container vector, and this I denotes a particular value on each iteration. See, it is by passed by value. So if I write by and, it will consume by less amount of space. Now this I denotes each element on each iteration. So this particular value denotes a particular line of code will be executed on each iteration, and I is that particular element of a vector on which that iteration particularly will be standing. This is a very useful trick to write because it brings more modularity into the code, as well as more readability into the code, as well as it is less time consuming, and for a programmer or coder it is win-win situation on the both sides. So I think guys, this much of the content regarding iterators is sufficient for you to understand, and if you are knowing this particular amount of concept about iterators, you will be able to understand SAT and hashmap very easily, because they are very important data structures to understand. And as soon as we go more further into the playlist, it will be getting more and more interesting after each concept that we will understand, because iterator in itself is a very interesting topic, and using this such interesting topic we will be understanding another container which is SAT, hashmap, which are yet very interesting themselves. So understand how much interesting our playlist will be as we gradually move forward in the playlist. So guys, I think this much is enough for today's video for iterators. We will be meeting in the next video very soon. Till then, keep learning, keep working hard. We will meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Have a good day. Thank you.